Week 6 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few quarterbacks I looked at off the wire this week. The first quarterback, Joe Flacco of the Indianapolis Colts. Joe Flacco, he's looked good in 2 ball games now. He's played with this Indianapolis Colt team where Anthony Richardson, it's been up and down for him so far this season. And we saw last year Joe Flacco came in and put up a lot of numbers and helped lead the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. So the last 2 games for Flacco, week 4, filling in for Richardson after he went out early in the first with the hip injury, 168 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 rush yards. In week 5 at Jacksonville, a monster game, 359 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, 22 rush yards, and a fumble loss. So Flacco still has the arm to get the football down the field. They got talented wide receivers, obviously Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. And Flacco, he's a gunslinger. He's going to have his turnovers, and also he's going to put up his yards. So we'll see if Anthony Richardson comes back. We get the Tennessee Titans. But like I said, Joe Flacco, he still could get the football down the field. He's in the pocket, classic type of passer, and he's using all his weapons in the offense. His next quarterback's Bo Nix of the Denver Broncos. I know it was a good matchup with the Raiders coming to town. Nick's available 90% of fantasy leagues. In the last 2 out of 3 games, he's at 18 or more fantasy points. Is Bo Nix. Week 3 at Tampa, 216 pass yards, 47 rush yards, a touchdown. Week 4 at the Jets, 60 pass yards, a touchdown, 3 rush yards. Week 5 versus the Raiders, 206 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 rush yards, and a rushing touchdown. So 3 total touchdowns in that ball game for Bo Nix. This week, not a great matchup versus the Chargers, where they're one of the better defenses in the league, but I believe Bo Nix, he could go out there and he's starting to develop. And believe it or not, this Bronco team now 3-2 on the season, winning 3 in a row. I know the defense has been a big part of this run, one of the best defenses in the league in the early going. Like I said, though, Bo Nix, he's progressing as the weeks have gone on in his rookie season. And he's a quarterback I looked at this week, and the final quarterback I looked at is Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, there's some weeks he's actually going out there and put up numbers. And we also know he's a quarterback that could run the football decently as well. Available 91% of fantasy leagues. So the last 2 out of 3 games for him as well have been pretty decent numbers. Week 3 at the Browns, 236 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 20 rush yards. Week 4 versus the Cowboys, a down game, 281 passing, an INT, 3 rush yards. And then week 5 in a matchup where people counted the Giants out, especially with Malik Neighbors out with the concussion, 257 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, and 38 rush yards. So week 6, a decent matchup versus Cincinnati Bengals. Give up the 10th most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the season. And I assume Malik Neighbors should be back in the lineup as well for this New York Giant team. So right now, Daniel Jones, he's going out there. Hasn't looked pretty, but he's still producing fantasy points. And he's in it this week. So that's a few quarterbacks I looked at off the wire for week 6 of the fantasy football season.